All right, guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Under the Dome. I'm your host, Alan Ulrich, with my partner, Sean Williams. How you doing tonight, Sean?
Doing fantastic, man. Couldn't ask for a better evening. Sunset over the bayou. Um, Apparently, all the Gators are at bay, and we're good to roll, man.
Yeah, well, that video you sent me, that water is pretty damn close. A lot closer than it is for me.
Well, you walk out my back door, and there's like a 25 or 30-foot square area there, and then there's I don't know if you'd call it a seawall or just what, but there's a 4-foot drop off that goes down to the water's edge. And I woke up that morning and I walked out there and I looked and I said, "Oh my God, that's an alligator!" And I filmed him. And basically, everything beyond that 4-foot wall out is his. Everything this side is me. If he can find a way to circumvent that 4-foot wall, he can have everything here. I'll give it to him.
Well, we used to have over on UL's campus. We used to have alligators in Cypress Lake in the middle of campus. But the biggest they could ever get was 2 feet, and you'd see them sunning themselves and things like that. Once they got over a certain size, then they take them out and they release them in the wild or whatever. So now my dad's camp down on the feet, he's got a pond back there, and they went and got a 12-footer out of there.
There's I've seen out in the bayou, not like the video that I sent you was like right up here next to the water's edge, but
Mhm.
out further, there's like 10, 12-foot gators that I've seen. They just don't ever come up as close as that one did, though.
No, and I've seen 12-footers, and no, yeah, I'm not messing with that. No, thank you.
No. Like I said, they find a way to scale that wall. They can have everything here. I'll give them the key, and I'll just ease on out the front door, and they can have it all.
They have if they get big enough, they can scale it. But I didn't want to tell you that.
Yeah, thanks.
They have the ability to do that. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. So, life in South Louisiana. What? Did you hear me?
Say
Oh,
that again.
sorry. I must have hit my mute button. What bayou is that behind you anyway?
Bayou Desired.
What?
On the beautiful shores of the University of Louisiana at Monroe. I know that causes the hair on the back of your neck to stand up, but
Yeah, I don't go for that. Not
uh,
me.
but see, what's so funny to me is I can look out here and I can at any given point in time, and I can see alligators swimming, and not a mile up the street is where the I think 11-time national championship water skiing team from ULM practices
Mm-hmm.
in the same bayou. So
Okay.
yeah, no, not the kid.
Oh
Ain't happening, Captain.
no, thank you. No, thank you. All right. So we finally got camp going. They finally over all the COVID testing. They're finally finished with all the protocols, and they've stretched, did the conditioning runs, all that stuff. Monday they finally put pads on. What have you seen so far out of that?
The only thing that I've really information is hard to come by because
Yes.
you've got to time it just right. You've got to catch a Sean Payton presser at the right time and all that.
Mhm.
About the only thing that I've seen thus far is the fact that Nigel Bradham is adjusting well to the Saints' the Saints system and the fact that Andres Pete is out indefinitely with a broken thumb.
Yeah. Well, also, so is Josh Hill, the tight end. He's got what Peyton called just a tweak. I don't know what that involves, and as typical Peyton, he'll be back sooner rather than later. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, listen.
it is what it is. Anyway, so basically, when the pads went on, Nick Underhill, because it's almost like we're back in 2004 as far as getting information about what's going on in camp. Nick Underhill's gotten some access, has come out, and he said basically on the first day, the offense didn't look very good. The defense looked good, but not great. The video clips they put up, some were just passing drills they were running, and people were freaking out because the corners outside of Janoris Jenkins and Marshawn Lattimore were getting beat. And Underhill to come back and say, listen, guys, this is a specific drill that's one-on-one matchups. Don't make a lot out of this. It's designed for the benefit of the receiver more so than the benefit of the cornerback. You know, in a real game, a lot of these cornerbacks would get help. Don't freak out on that. I don't know. And I couldn't even tell some of the names of some of these defensive backs because a lot of them are the undrafted free agents and things. Yeah. But don't freak out if, and I'm just pulling numbers out of the air. Don't quote me on these numbers. But if 38 gets beaten by that kid, Benny, whatever, you know, I mean, people, that's how people are like, oh my God, look at this receiver just destroying 38. And it's like, no. Just calm down.
It's a controlled scrimmage. It's a practice. It's not meant to be a game situation. Because, I mean, if you break it down unto the smallest denominator, number 38 probably never sees the field in a game situation. So it's neither – at this point in practice, it's neither as bad or as good as it ever looks.
Yeah. And people just, like I said, it's the first time we've ever seen any of these guys since, unfortunately, the Minnesota playoff game. So, people are just gravitating to whatever they can get a hold of. And, you know.
Well, I mean, it's just like the way that we are with preseason football. It's not real. It doesn't mean a damn thing to anybody except the coaches. And yet we've gone so long without football. We gravitate to that and we love that because it's football. And it's the same thing with practices right now.
Yeah. And, you know, we're not going to be able to see preseason games because there won't be any preseason games. So we're not going to really see any of these guys. And that leads to my first question for you of the night. We have already been told that the first home game, the Tampa Bay home game, Saints won't have any fans in the dome.
Yeah.
The second week, the Saints will not have any fans in the new stadium in Vegas, the Raiders game.
Yeah.
Given that basically now we are 3 weeks into camp. I'm looking at my calendar on the wall. 3 weeks into camp, and we're finally gotten to pads, and we would be playing a normal preseason game, the Steelers on Sunday in Pittsburgh. How sloppy do you think these first 2 games are going to be?
It's basically your first 2 games of the season are going to be what you would expect, at least in my opinion. It's going to be what you would expect to see in the first 2 weeks of preseason. You're going to have a lot of trial and error. You're going to have a lot of let's try this and see how it works. you're not going to have the benefit of having had that at your disposal during training camp. So you have no choice but to go that route during the season. And of course, Tampa Bay is going to be a divisional game, and
Mhm.
you're gonna really need to win that. But the Raiders game, it's not even it's not a divisional game. It's not even a conference game. It's a cross conference game with the
Interconference, yeah, AFC,
interconference. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's going to be that. So you really have not a lot to lose. But I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
do you they've made the announcement that the first 2 weeks of the season were going to be without fans. Do
Mhm.
you think that that's going to be the end of it? And we start to see from that point on, we start to see fans slowly coming back into the mix, or do you think that that's something that's going to perpetuate itself throughout the season?
I think it's very likely you probably won't see fans all the way through September into October, and they'll see where they are from there. I think they're going to make a month by month decision, and they're going to decide based on number of cases when they will start allowing fans in. And I think it is going to carry all the way into October. And I would not be surprised to see it extended even further. That said, I think the first two games of the season are going to be the sloppiest football you've ever seen in your life. It's going to be,
Absolutely.
it's going to be, as far as penalties, it's going to be Jim Haslett teams on steroids. And as far as just boneheaded, dumb penalties, you're going to see holding, false starts, the worst tackling you've ever seen in your life. You're going to see a lot of pass interference calls. Just
Yeah.
horrible, horrible football. It's going to be
Well,
football. And I'm saying this because there's no live I mean, there's live tackling, but controlled tackling they do now in training camp where you don't bring the guy to the ground.
yeah.
They're just going to wrap up just to stop your momentum. So, you're going to see a lot of bad football those first 2 weeks. And you're like, oh my God, is this what we're going to get? Things that fans are not used to seeing, honestly.
Yeah. Because you don't have the preseason to go through that. You don't have the preseason to work those kinks out and to correct those mistakes. And
it's everything's going to count.
yeah.
And I mean, we have already seen what's happened during the first. And we're going to talk about Andres Pete in just a second, Anna. But we're gonna you're gonna see, and people have already noticed or complained that, hey, the Saints have looked bad in the first month of the season. First two games, our opening day record is terrible.
Yeah.
Even under Peyton, it's still not very good. It takes the team a little while to get going, and that's with preseason games and live tackling and scrimmages and things like that. Without having that, God, I really expect to see just people are going to be pissed off at home because you can't boo from the stands. I mean, pissed off from home, that they're watching all these penalties. They'll be screaming, let them play, and it's just, it's going to be ugly. It really is. But my thing is, I think what hurts the Saints with not having people, the longer they don't have people, it really hurts the Saints in terms of a home field advantage. Granted, you don't have to deal with that over there when you're playing in Las Vegas. You won't have to deal with that playing in Detroit. Not that anybody goes. You don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. But in our stadium, you've heard the announcers say it, the teams say it, the coaches say it. This is one of the toughest venues to play because the way this building is built, that the noise goes up to the ceiling and then comes back down and circulates on the floor. And Paul, I don't want second graders football in my professional football. I know. But the noise just circulates on that field, and it just keeps feeding. And the fans, because this stadium was built as a multi-purpose arena, not as a strict football stadium, the fans sit on top of the field and very close to the field.
Yeah.
You look at a Saints game now that high definition television is a regular thing. You look at a Saints game and you compare that to a game played in Jerry's World or San Francisco or any of the new stadiums, and this is why I'm pointing out the new stadiums. You can count the freckles on some people's faces in the Superdome versus how far back the people are away from the field in one of these newer stadiums.
Yeah.
And that's really the difference. Those people are that close and it gets that loud. And you had the same thing in Arrowhead, because Arrowhead was built in 1970. They went there in 71. I'm sorry, 71 they built it. 72 is when they opened it. But to an extent, Seattle's field was built because of the curvature they put in the overhang they have over the two sides of the stadium to kind of keep the fans dry. That also kind of funnels that noise. So it's just
I've been to the Superdome on a game day. Mm-hmm. I've been to Jerry's World when the Saints played there on a game day. And what you get with the contrast between those two is you get the old versus the new. And I despise the Cowboys organization, blah, blah, blah. I respect them. I respect their history. But what?
Your kids are trying to join in the conversation. Says, "Hi, Dad. It's A&D."
Oh, it's Anna and Drew.
There you go. And
hey, babies, Daddy loves you. Oh God, I'm so proud that my children are watching.
There you go.
I love you guys so much. I miss you. Can't wait to see you. But anyway, you get the old versus the new with the Superdome versus Jerry's World. I've been at both venues at the absolute most fevered pitch, and during competition. And you can call me a homer all you want, but there is absolutely nothing in this world that compares to the game day atmosphere on Poydras Avenue. It can't be touched. 92,000 screaming coon asses. No, in the words of MC Hammer, can't touch this.
All right, Avery wants to know, how old are you?
How old are I?
Yes.
Well, let me think.
Cut me in half and count my rings.
That's exactly it. I am on my next birthday, which will be January the 8th, the same day as Elvis Presley. I will be 53 years old.
There you go. I'll be 53 before you.
Alan's older than me. I just want to throw that out there too.
My birthday is about a month earlier, a month and 8 days.
Yeah.
Earlier. I'm December 16th.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to hurt, especially when you're playing a divisional game like Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And you're playing against Tom Brady, and the Buccaneers are supposed to be our number one. Avery, I'm sorry. Avery says, "Okay, there's still hope I can have some kids."
Hey, there's always hope as long as you're on the right side of the dirt, brother.
Hey man, there's no hope for me anymore. The baby making factory has been shut down. The warehouse has been torn down, and in my case, all the employees have been laid off, with no hope of ever coming back. Hey, I picked a football weekend to get that done.
Well, I'm not even sure how to approach that. So,
hey man, I, um, I I'll be honest with you. Okay, the kids just left, so I can tell this joke. All right, so anyway, I go there. You get this done. Not that you really need to know this stuff. I'm driving.
oh my God, I love you to death. You're like a brother to me, but there's some things that I probably really don't need to know about.
You got to hear this joke. This joke is perfect.
Oh God.
So anyway, so you get this done at a urologist. All right, you get this procedure done. So I walk in. I'm the only one not dragging a dialysis machine with me, and it's not 65 or older. So the nurse is like, "So what are you in here for?" I wonder. So anyway, you get this done, and they have to take a couple samples to make sure that the surgery worked. So the nurse hands me these 2 cups and says, "Okay, I'll need you to put your samples in here." And I'm like, "Now?" And she's like, No. Just you wait a couple of weeks after surgery, and then you bring it over." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I just show up. She's like, No, dear. You call before you come. Got it. No problem.
Oh my God, I'm hurting.
True story. Not gonna lie.
That's like the James Bond movie where the nurse walks in and he's laying in the hospital bed and she says, "I'm gonna need you to pee in the cup," and he says, "From here."
Yeah, exactly. Avery's mad at himself. He started this guy. Yes, you did. I'm telling you,
Avery. Thank you, Avery.
I have a story for everyone. Jerry's killing himself laughing. This show, you've got to tell stories like this because this show needs this kind of humor.
That's right. We don't have football. You're okay. Well, this is what you get.
Yeah. So
I didn't have to go to a clinic. I got it the much easier way. I had radiation.
Oh, so you could have given birth to Spider-Man or something, huh? Is that how that works?
Not as much as you would think. No.
If it's gamma radiation, don't they turn into the Hulk?
Well,
or you just give birth to the X-Men. Is that how that works?
Well, thus far, no. We haven't seen any evidence of that yet, but
yeah. Hey man, I just we had 3 and 5 years. My wife and I, our first 5 years of marriage, it was Oh, well, I'll tell you this story here.
When we conclude the show and we go off the air, I'll have that conversation with you where I explain to you exactly how that happens.
Oh, I know how it happens. I got it 3 times in 5 years. You think I'm turning it down? No. So anyway, we're at my 10-year high school reunion. Okay, we're at my 10-year high school reunion, and I'm now married to my wife, and she's pregnant with Matthew, our first, and he was born in November, so that reunion I think was in August. Which if any woman that's ever been pregnant knows. The 3rd month, you've got a portable heater on you. They're like, "Oh my God, I'm dying." I was going to bed with parkas on, and I'm never cold, but I'm freezing in the apartment, or because we had a little 1-bedroom apartment back then. So anyway, So yeah, there you go. Uh, my ex-wife was 8 of 8. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly it.
Eight. Wait. 8 of 8. What?
8 of 8 kids. I knew a lot
Oh,
of big families too.
oh my God.
So anyway, so we go to my high school reunion. My wife is pretty far along, and one of my high school friends was dating somebody who brains were optional apparently, and she's like, "Hey man, if whatever, I'm not even gonna say." Anyway, she's like, "Are you pregnant?" Oh, I was like, "Really?" Look, like I like Alfred Hitchcock here, No, this is all beer. So all my
No,
friends, all my friends are like, hey, that's great. Oh, Alan's starting a family already, the kind of thing. So at my 15-year reunion, my wife comes along, and she's now pregnant for number 3, because 3 and 5 years. She's now pregnant for number 3. Not nearly as far along. Reagan, no, actually, she was even further along because Reagan was born in September. So yeah, in this reunion, I think it happened. I want to say in July. Yeah, I want to say it happened in July that year. So she was really close to not coming. And um, once again, someone had the nerve to ask my wife, "Are you pregnant?" And my wife's short. She's 5 feet tall. She's all
yeah,
belly. All my kids were
I've met
big.
Miss Debbie.
Yeah, all so it's all out here. So I had to immediately chime in like, again, this is still. uh, so yeah, so absolutely. I mean, you got to have fun with that kind of stuff. So yeah, um,
I have 4 ranging in age from 30 to 8. My oldest is 30 and my youngest is 8. I have 5 grandkids now.
no way,
Yeah,
none, 0 grandkids for me. No.
it's coming, brother.
Oh, I know it's coming, but I hope I have to pay for an expensive wedding first. Actually, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. My youngest does have a boyfriend. My middle one, there's no guy that's going to meet her standards. She wants to date somebody who's into sports like she is, but she refuses to date any guy who's an Atlanta Falcons fan. Cowboys fan is negotiable. If you don't like the Saints and the Pelicans, she wants nothing to do with you. If you don't even know what sports are, she's throwing a shoe at you, that kind of thing. So I mean, yeah, it ain't happening. That I keep, as she goes through the list of stuff, I just watch the dating pool go boom, boom, boom. And I'm like,
Watch
boy,
the
good
dating
luck.
pool dry up.
Yeah, I said, good luck with that.
My the ones that were the two that were checking in earlier, Anna and Drew. Anna is 11, going on 33.
11's
Drew,
the magic number.
yeah, that's Daddy's little girl. I would I would kill or die for that. Of course, I would do that for all of mine, but I miss them.
Yeah. Yeah, Chad says he's got 16, 17, and 21. My youngest is 19 right now. She'll turn 20 in September.
Damn, dude, you're old.
I know. My oldest, Matthew, will be 25 this November. And Allison turns 22 I'm sorry, 23. God, she's 22 now. She turned 23 next February. So yeah.
Yeah, I've never got to meet Matt, and I really hate that.
Well, you think you feel small around me? Let Matt come stand next to you.
Matt's a big old boy.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I can remember the first time that Alan and I met, like actual face to face in person. That would have been at Walk-Ons, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and you and
The
that was
boy.
the night that was the night that Bob came down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked in and I said, "Hey, there's Alan. I see him. I recognize him." We'd been doing the show for like what 2 or 3 years at that point,
Yeah.
and I walked over to the table and he stood up and I was like, "Oh my God, you're big."
And my son's taller than I am. So
Yeah, I've seen pictures of you and Matt's like bigger than you.
yeah. Matt's bigger and outweighs me by a good 30 or 40 pounds. He's up there. He's up there. He really and he grew late. He's a lot like my brother. My brother was the same way. My brother shot up from my mom used to make this joke all the time, but my brother shot up his junior year of high school, and it was like he was 5'4", 5'5", the beginning of the year, and by the end of his junior year, he's 6'4", and it's like,
Jesus.
what the hell? What the hell? And his foot grew from a size, I'm going to say like a size 10 to like a size 14 extra wide. I used to make jokes, hey man, just throw the shoes out the box and wear the boxes, because
No
I mean,
shit.
yeah, he really grew fast, and it was just, I was in college by that time, so I didn't see it as he was growing. But my mom was like, "Man, I got to buy new pants for this kid every other week." Because she'd buy him a new pair of pants, wash it twice. He's like, "Mom, these pants are shrinking in the wash. He's got high waters on," and it's like, "No, man."
When I was a freshman, I was 5'6" and 142 pounds. That's what I was listed as in the program. And when I graduated high school, I was 5'7" and 155.
Wow. Yeah, I
But
got bigger when I got to college.
But at 5'6" and 142 pounds, I could run a 4.2 40. So
What my shoe could have been my shoe. Yeah, exactly. I haven't thought of that show in forever. That joke. Guess what's my shoe size? That's what John Candy. I remember that.
Yep.
And one of my favorite routines from SCTV, of course, Great White North came from that.
Yes.
Show. Rick Moranis.
Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
Geddy Lee. The ultimate bass player ever. Geddy Lee.
Yes. Well, he can
Take
play
on
bass.
To the Great White North.
Well, he played the bass, he played the keyboard, and sing at the same time. That was damn impressive.
Played the bass, played the keyboards, played foot pedals, and sang all at once.
Yep. So anyway, what's my shoe size at SCTV? The one I remember the most is Johnny LaRue, John Candy, doing his exercises, and he's like opens the refrigerator door, bends in, bends out, closing. It's like, whew, I'm tired after that one. He does like 3 or 4 of these things. It was hilarious. And he says, he'd always end the show with, I'm not fat, not gay either, that kind of thing. It's hilarious. Oh God, I haven't watched
people from this generation really and truly, they have no idea what they missed out on, because nowadays you have Family Guy and all these South Park, the tasteless cartoons. But back then you had real shows like SCTV, Saturday Night Live, stuff like that.
I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to lie. I do laugh at some of the jokes on Family Guy because it's just so crude and offensive. But SCTV, for those of you who don't know, the guys that were in American Pie, Rick Moranis, Dave Thomas, I can't, John Candy. I can't think of the women's names off the top of my head. I know they'll come to me later on. But anyway, they were comedians in Chicago which
Second City Network.
Yes, Chicago was called the Second City. They were stand-up comedians, and they got together and they put on this show, which was basically, oh my God, Northern Exposure. I watched Northern Exposure for, is it Janine Turner was on that one?
Yes.
Yes, because the other one I loved was on China Beach. But there was two women I was incredibly
she was also in Tombstone.
Yes.
Damn.
But I watched Northern Exposure for Janine Turner. Anyway, so they started a network. They started a comedy show called SCTV, which was basically like a television network, but it was all run by comedians, and it was, these stupid shows, and
it was kind of a knockoff on Saturday Night Live.
Right, but the general theme was they're running a TV station. Okay, and all these skits they did were TV shows for this horrible network. So it was hilarious. Count Floyd and his terrible movies, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Ooh, scary stuff, eh, kids? Because it's kind of like Svengoolie and Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and those kind of people. It's a guy dressed as a Dracula. Supposed to be showing these cheesy 50 horror movies, but they were always these terrible, terrible films. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You see the bat. You see the bat flying in the corner of the room, and you can see the fish line with the.
Yep. Oh, strange. Okay. Of course, my brother knows Dana Delaney. She was on China Beach.
That's the one. That's the one.
And she was hot as hell too. But anyway,
I ain't touching that.
Oh, my wife knows. She knows.
Yeah, well,
you have to list, if anybody's married for any length of time, you get your list of, I would leave you for, and it's always unrealistic people. My wife's like, I would leave you for, and it's like this list of movie stars. And I'm like, so many people on the list. Hell, I'd leave you for this guy too. I'm not even kidding. But yeah, so that she knows my list. Dana Delaney, Janine Turner, Sailor Ward. She was in The Fugitive. She plays Harrison Ford's wife. And she was on that show Sisters, which my wife watched because I couldn't watch without doing total Mystery Science Theater, 3000 watching this thing, because I started doing that when she and I first started dating. I don't know how we got this, but I had Telemundo on the cable access system. And I had the Spanish soap opera on. And if you ever watch Telemundo, this is now, we're really going out in left field now. If you ever watch Telemundo, and these Spanish soap operas, it's like a parody of, except it's all in Spanish, but it's like a parody of American soap operas. Yeah. You remember Charo?
Mm-hmm.
Coochie Coochie Girl?
Coochie.
That was her routine. These women do it for real. And it's not a joke like Charo. And they have these bright ass colors, these tight ass dresses. And, so I'm watching this and I'm translating the Spanish for my wife with just nothing but off color, totally politically incorrect out, like, I cry if I could breathe, or, you're making the first wave or first layer of my makeup wear off, that kind of thing. Just horrible jokes about these women. Can this dress get any tighter? Can this hair get any bigger? Can your boobs get any bigger? That kind of stuff. And it's just, I have a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that. But anyway, my wife got a good taste of my sense of humor by doing that. All right. That said, my wife knows Candace Cameron. Okay. Yeah. My wife wants to live in a Hallmark Christmas movie town. She just does. I can't want. Okay. Okay, if we're gonna have a list, go with her sister. I was gonna say George Clooney, Brad Pitt. That's on her. She doesn't have their number. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever works
Um,
for you, brother.
no, I can't go with her sister. I've known my wife's sister. I hope this is what you mean, Avery. I've known my wife's sister since she was 6. It just doesn't work, not at all. It's just one of those things. Wait, I
I,
knew it was a little
I,
kid.
I ain't even getting remotely close to that. I'm
Yeah.
taking the detour.
Oh, what's this? Where'd that come from? Hi. Okay, thank you.
What we got?
Allison just threw a bag of M&Ms in my room, and I have no idea where it came from. She
Wow.
must. Okay. All right then. That
Thanks,
sounds good to
Allison.
me. There we go. So let's get back to the show after that long, convoluted trail through the
Dark recesses of our minds.
Yes, thank you. Anna wanted to talk about Andrus Pete. Pete got a broken thumb. Here's the thing about Pete, and then people question whether or not we should have paid him because once again he's injured. And I made a comment on Twitter that because of social media today, we kind of jump on these players right away and don't look at their whole career in perspective any longer. We kind of we all we ever focus on are the negative things, and Andrus Pete always getting injured, just like Teron Armstead always getting injured. That's what the fans kind of focus on.
Yeah.
And I made the comment, I said, man, if Twitter would have existed in the 80s, they would just destroy 2 players who actually have good reputation among Saints fans, Brad Edelman and Jim Dombrowski.
Yeah.
Because of everything's an instant take. Brad Edelman missed, I want to say it was most of the 84 season with injuries. In 85, I think it was a knee injury in 84. In 85, it was hamstring injuries. And so he was unavailable. And then he comes back in 86. He misses a few games here and there with little nicks and injuries, and he's in and out of the lineup. 87, he plays the whole season. He makes All-Pro, makes the Pro Bowl. In that playoff game, that horrible playoff game against the Vikings, he gets manhandled by the defensive tackle.
Dolman.
No, not Dolman. The I hate to say it, like the white guy.
Randall.
No, Randall wasn't on the team yet. This was he became a defensive line coach. He blew his knee out in 88, and I was really happy for him because I hated this bastard. What is his? I had it. I said it earlier today, but Vikings defensive tackle, 1987. It'll come up right away. Keith Millard. Keith Millard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keith Millard. He basically destroyed Brad Edelman. One of the reasons why the Saints couldn't run the football in that playoff game was Edelman was getting manhandled the whole time by Millard, one-on-one blocking. And when they try and help him, someone else would come free. It was just a terrible game all the way around.
As it usually is when we play the Vikings.
So, if Twitter would have existed back then, people would have constantly brought up the Vikings playoff game because remember, you're talking about 87 to 1990 before the next time the Saints go to the playoffs, and they would be looking at, that he was a bum. He was hurt in 84 with a bad knee. He was out most 85 with hamstring problems. He was in and out in 86 and 87. He finally plays and he gets the hell beat out of him by somebody good. How is he not garbage? But we now, because we're looking back at his career, he was a pretty good tackle, a pretty good guard. He did a lot of good stuff for us while he was there. And I think Andrus Pete doesn't get that same kind of treatment because we're always focused on that game, that play, where
Yeah.
when he wasn't there when we needed him. He played a
Well,
game with a broken hand. Oh, but he got manhandled the whole time with that broken hand. He took a touchdown off the board. All these things. So I'm not so much defending Pete as I am. Let's look at some of the positive things. He came into camp. He lost a lot of weight, looks to be in his best shape ever, which he is doing to try and get over his injuries. And this happens. He breaks his thumb, which happens. Hey, you got your hands out, somebody's coming at you. All it takes is your hand in the wrong position and it gets jammed and broken. It's not like, oh shit, there he is being sloppy again,
Well, I'm reminded of something someone told me many, many years ago. If you have a job and you're handling the merchandise all the time, there's a much better likelihood that something's going to happen to you rather than happen to someone else.
Yeah.
When it comes to Andrus Peat, you can say what you want. You can have any opinion that you want, but I guarantee you that with all of my my knowledge, my experience, there is absolutely no one on this Saints team in that department of offensive linemen that is more versatile, more usable, more adept that we have at our disposal than Andrus Peat. He can play every position across the front except center. And for people to persecute him because he got hurt in practice, that's absolute and total utter bullshit.
Well, I understand the frustration, and Anna, and I think that's what Anna's seeing. She's frustrated because once again he's hurt. Hey, Calvin. Once again, he's hurt, and that's frustrating because this is a guy who's got to get over that injury reputation, and I totally get that, and I totally agree with that.
Absolutely,
I absolutely
he's a veteran. He's a veteran, and you need him in there, and you need him in the mix, and you need him to be making a difference.
Well, you're paying him. You've made the decision to pay him, which I do not fault the decision. I think the decision was a good one, given your other options. Okay. Your other options were to sign a lesser guard or let him go and try and replace him with a Cameron Tom or a Nick Easton. My brother asked if Nick Easton's worth playing. I don't think Nick Easton even makes his team. Honestly, I think Nick Easton,
have to agree with that.
I think they let Nick Easton go in favor of some of these younger guys. Do you start the season with the kid from who's now Will Clapp? Do you start the season with Will Clapp? I mean, that was a lot of your options. Once the top two guards were off the market and were franchise players, I'm not willing to trade my first round pick for or whatever they're going to demand for that guy. Especially given COVID, it makes more sense bringing a guy in who knows your system, paying him less than what you pay those upper guards that you'd have to trade and give up a first round pick for. And you can do something with that. Now, Larry Warford, they cut him. They just got rid of him outright. That was the guy that,
the Civ from the Minnesota game.
Yes. And he's not even going to play this year. No team is really interested in him either. Avery's saying this is a situation where familiarity breeds contempt. Pete grades out like a monster on all the football sites. Well, I can tell you right now, Matthew Stafford thinks you're crazy, that he grades out the worst. And he'll tell you that over and over and over again. Um, so my thing is it breeds contempt only because Saints fans, once they get it in their heads that this guy is the worst guy to ever play the position, anything is an upgrade over that option. So it's my thinking is in this case they like Pete's versatility, they like what Pete has shown them, and Pete was an affordable option to them, given
Yes.
the other things they want to pay. They want to pay for.
You take into consideration the fact that Armstead goes down, Pete moves over.
Yep.
Warford goes out, Pete moves to the other side. Something happens with Ramczyk, Pete slides away. Pete is the most versatile and usable player that you have on that offensive line unit, and that's not something that comes by cheaply.
And I think the team
you can say all you want about Pete being injured, but the person that's in the fire the most tends to get burned easiest.
Well, and I think the team had already made the decision before the draft, even before they re-signed Pete, that they were going to part ways with Larry Warford. They were going to get rid of him. Yeah. So you don't bring Pete back. You're still not planning on keeping Larry Warford. Now you have two holes to fill.
Yeah.
And I don't think they like Nick Easton. I think they used him when they did, but they didn't like him enough to kick him over to Warford's spot. No. I don't think he was even active for the Vikings playoff game, which tells you a lot.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think he was inactive for that game.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. He was active. It was Clapp that wasn't active because Clapp had gotten hurt.
You're absolutely right.
Clapp had gotten hurt, but because Easton gave up a sack when he had to play the third tackle in one of the early drives. But anyway, so they weren't going to put Easton in Pete's spot and then get rid of Warford and put a rookie in there. They wanted to try and just fill one hole. And there's some people who would have been like, well, I wouldn't have done that at all. I would have drafted a receiver in the first round, left the offensive line alone, and done other things. That's an entirely different conversation.
I mean, when you can bring a Lombardi trophy to the conversation, then you can criticize the way that things are done.
Well, as I pointed out before, in fact, draft night, I pointed it out, and in an argument I had with Matthew in Twitter, I basically said, look, Warford's the problem on this thing. You watch that Vikings game, Warford had a horrible game. Pete had a bad game too, but Warford was dreadful.
But I mean, Jesus Christ, Pete was playing with a broken arm?
Yeah, he was coming off a broken arm.
But he still suited up and he played. I mean,
yeah.
And you can't discount that. You can't say, well, that doesn't matter.
I tell you what, I broke my arm, and it's now going on 6 months, and I still don't have my strength back in my arm. I don't know how the hell these football players do it. I know that physical. I'm 52 and they're in their 20s, and my physical therapy is for a 52-year-old and their physical therapy is for a 20-something-year-old. I know there's a big difference, but man, I still don't have my arm strength back in my right arm that I had prior to breaking it. So, I get it. I get it. He needs to be available. You're counting on this guy. He's got a reputation he has to overcome. I get all of that. But at the same time, I also understand the Saints' thinking, their philosophy, their idea of how they want to approach this season. So I just want this guy to get back faster. I want him to get the splint, wrap it up, tape it up, and get the hell back out there. Don't spend 2 weeks.
Well, see, that's the amazing thing about the injury that Pete has sustained. It's a broken arm, or excuse me, a broken thumb. Yeah. That's by NFL standards, that's treatable. You wrap it, you do all that, and he can get back on the field. It's not like a torn ACL,
Mhm.
or like Gerald McCoy suffered for the Cowboys. But I mean, it's something that can be dealt with.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like a season ender for the guy.
Okay, real quick in the final minutes, let's talk about some of the other guys who are having a good camp. Your boy is having a good camp, PJ Williams. Now, granted, it's only been a couple practices, but
How the
he
hell
had
did he become my boy?
well, because of that reaction. Every time I mention the man's name, your head hangs down. Um, but yeah,
The only thing that I love about PJ Williams is his last name. Come on,
yeah.
man.
Well, he's having a good camp so far. They've been playing him at corner and safety, inside corner and safety, which I think that's really where he belongs anyway, safety, because
Yeah.
he's a hitter.
Look. I've had my issues with PJ. I don't believe that he's a shutdown corner like
No,
they were. And in all fairness, I believe that the Saints were forced into a position where they had to try to use him at that. I don't believe he's suited for that. PJ is a hitter. He creates turnovers. He's a fantastic slot guy, but he's not a shutdown corner.
right, right, exactly. And you can't put him in those positions. But there are some things, Anna. I totally agree. Just wanted your view. That's okay, Anna. I want to make sure I wasn't picking on you. It was a legitimate. It was a good question too. Good question.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay. Who got? The Cowboys. Okay. So I was getting ready to bring that up. All right. Speaking of injuries, and Chad brought this up. Gerald McCoy, a guy that Matthew really like. More Matthew, if he's watching this, he's gonna like. Well, I guess I was an asshole getting talked about this whole episode, but Gerald McCoy was somebody that Matthew really wanted the Saints to sign as a defensive tackle last year when he got released from Carolina. Now he had
No, Tampa Bay.
I'm sorry, Tampa. No, he got released from Carolina first before he signed with Tampa. No, you're right. You're right. Never mind. I had it backwards. Released from Tampa Bay, then he went to Carolina. Then he released from Carolina and went to Dallas this year. Well, he signed a contract that if he gets injured, basically the Cowboys can cut him without paying anything. The contract was like, okay, you're out, and it's a season ender, which is probably going to be a career ender. So it's just,
and for a player the caliber of a Gerald McCoy, that's really that's sad.
well, I mean, it's pretty much ending his career because you're out for the whole year. I think he's 33, 32, maybe.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, so he's at the end of his career. Maybe he can come back next year, but as far as a starter and a big name getting a big contract, it's pretty much over. But we're seeing around camp a lot of guys going down. The Cardinals signed Robert Alford. I think he came from the Falcons. He tore his pec, and he'll be out for the whole 2020 season.
It's just a titty, man.
Well, Trey Waynes, who went from the Vikings to the Bengals, tore his pec, and he'll miss most of the season. I saw
titty babies.
Jalen Hurd, not the quarterback, the receiver, tore his ACL. He's out for the year. And Vince Beagle, a guy you didn't even know the Saints used to have in their roster, special teams linebacker guy. He's the guy we traded to the Dolphins last year to get Kiko Alonso. He got hurt today. He's out for the year. I think he tore his Achilles, if I remember right. I'm going through my little list.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, tore his Achilles. He's out for the year. So, here you are. you're we're only a week into really real training camp, and here these players dropping like flies. So yeah, it's just
Well, I mean, this is just par for the course. This is
mhm.
this is the same thing that we deal with every year at this point.
Yeah.
Uh, when I was covering the Saints for PFS, I took the approach when training camp started. It was a matter of three of your biggest names are going down. Now, which three is it going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, and fortunately enough for the Saints, that hasn't materialized.
Well, we talked about Pete's broken thumb. The second string tight end,
Josh Hill.
Josh Hill. Peyton was very evasive. I said this already, but Peyton was very evasive about his injury, but basically tweaked something, and he's going to be out, and he'll be back, as Peyton likes to say, sooner rather than later. So, that's one of the things. The other thing I'm worried about coming into this first regular season game, guys who have not been practicing, with a lot of pads, full tackling, it's really wrap up and hold. How many injuries you think we're going to see in these first couple of weeks when guys really start hitting each other?
Yeah, it's kind of a toss up. You don't have any idea. There again, it goes back to the adage about your preseason. How many injuries do you see over the course of the 4 weeks of the preseason in a normal cycle? That's you're going to have that compounded by the fact that these games count.
Mm-hmm.
So you can expect probably quite a bit.
Yeah, and so now depth really becomes an issue, and that's why. The other reason why I think the Saints kept or re-signed Pete, because they like the depth behind him. But if you let him go, and now you're moving your depth to starter, your depth is a lot thinner. And we've seen it. I blame at least one of the three preseason losses, and postseason losses, on our injury status, our lack of depth. I thought in 2017 our offensive line took so many hits. It's one of the reasons why we lost that Vikings game.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we only on that trip to Minneapolis, we only took, I want to say, 7 offensive linemen active.
Yep.
So I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And one of those, Teron Armstead, was playing on a severely injured.
He's playing on one leg. He had a knee problem.
Yeah.
He was playing on one leg. And I thought at the end of the 2019 season, I thought the injuries to our offensive line were really piling up. And that's why it was so important that we got, one of those top seeds, so we had that first round bye, and we didn't get it. We had to play that wild card game, so that's all to me. That's why I think the Saints have constructed the roster the way they have. You've got a lot of guys you can cross train. You've got a lot of guys who can play as your depth. I thought Ty Montgomery, for example, that's a guy I'm really interested in hearing a lot about, because I think Ty Montgomery is going to be that guy who can play your running back in case Kamara gets hurt, in case Latavius Murray gets hurt. He can play running back for you, but also can be a physical wide receiver in the slot position. So, I think that you see a lot of that kind of stuff going on with the way this roster is constructed, because Peyton has looked back at these losses. And why have we lost these games? Problems in our secondary with depth, problems in our offensive line with depth, problems in our running game with depth, problem at receiver with depth. I think that's all things that Peyton was like, okay, we need to address this as much as he can, so he can get a team that can withstand injuries. So in December, you're still playing some of your best football instead of playing your best football in October and early November, which is what we have been doing the past
Yeah,
three
it's
seasons.
as we've said on this show a million times. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You can't come out the gates hell bent for leather and just kind of limp across the finish line and expect to do anything.
Yep. Yeah. Avery brought up that Seattle game. Absolutely. By an inch. It was that's how close the Seahawks were to scoring. The guy was tackled just short of the goal line with no time left. And it just that's how close we were to getting that bye. And I thought if we got that bye, we would be in a much better position to make that run. We needed that
When it
extra
comes
week.
right down to it, the entire season last year hinged on that San Francisco game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought
George effing Kittle.
yes, I don't like that man at all. But
Yeah, I hope
I
he's
thought
constipated for a long time.
I thought that that the linebacker depth issue was what hurt us the most.
It
in that game.
absolutely was. I mean,
Yeah.
Kittle could never do to you what he did to you if you had a solid linebacking core rather than having a standout linebacker.
Yeah, and have we addressed our linebacking core enough? I don't think we have, but
No.
there's only so much we could do. I still think linebacker is our biggest weakness right now, only because you've got a rookie, an older linebacker, and two guys that are injured or injury prone.
Yeah.
And that if we lose to Mario Davis, we're really screwed.
Where this linebacking core lands in terms of solidity is going to depend not on Demario Davis, but on the maturation of Zach Bond.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Bond has to be, I hate to say this, but he has to be an impact player.
Yes, absolutely.
In these final months, when they're going to Denver, when we play at Atlanta, at Philadelphia, I want to see Bond having that breakout season, and that's where those games, I want to see him making those plays. When we host Kansas City, in December, Christmas night, when we play the Minnesota Vikings, Bond's got to be on his game. And we need to have Alonzo still playing into December, not one of these things where he lasts until about Thanksgiving and then gets hurt. We need him playing.
Isn't Alonzo on the pup list?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, not Alonzo. I meant to say Anzalone.
Anzalone. Yeah.
Yes, Alonzo.
Thor.
Yes. Anzalone needs to be playing at a high level into December and no injuries because he needs to be back, needs to be available in the playoff games.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we haven't even touched on Davenport, but Davenport, I need to have 16 plus games out of him. We get 16 plus games and we get 12 sacks or more out of Davenport. We have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
That's right.
Because I think, what is that?
Oh, shit. Hang on.
Wait a minute. You want to show me your ass? Don't do that.
No, I'm not going to show you my ass. I'm trying to show you my tattoo.
All I see is blur. What is it?
It's the Lombardi Trophy with the fleur-de-lis in the middle of it.
I got you. Okay, I can see that now. All right. But if Davenport can have double-digit sacks.
It's going to be easier for Davenport than it is going to be for Anzalone because the room in the defensive line is going to be much bigger than it is for the linebackers. You're not going to need as much out of Davenport as you're going to need out of Anzalone.
Well, you see, if we have if Brown and Rankins. If Rankins, another one, needs to stay healthy. If Rankins can play 16 games and we get 6 or 8 sacks out of Rankins, which is a lot, but you get between Brown and Rankins, you get a lot of good push and keep Anzalone clean.
Yeah.
Then we're going to see a much better defensive performance. And that's why I think the Saints has invested so much in that defensive line, because they want that defensive line to keep those linebackers clean. They can handle the run and rush the pass with just 4 or 5 guys. And if they can do that and not blitz as much, you can drop guys off in coverage. And I think that plays to Anzalone's strength, dropping off into coverage, because he's got the speed to do it. So, it's all fits together. But, yeah, linebacker is probably my biggest concern, about more so than the secondary. I think the secondary just needs to play at the level they're capable of playing. And we know who I'm talking about with that.
Yeah, PJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
The linebackers are a concern because they're your intermediaries. They're the ones that's going to take those short coverages. They're the ones that's going to stop the run. They're the ones that you really and truly, if you break it down into the brass tacks, they're the ones that you depend on the most.
They're the ones that have to make it 3rd and long.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it boils down to. That's how you get 3rd and long on a consistent basis. They can't run the football because they can't get outside. They can't run the football inside. And if they throw it underneath to the safety valve, the linebacker's right there to bring them down.
Yeah.
So, now you're.
And the sad thing is Demario Davis can't do that by himself. No. So that's where it stands at this point. You need an Anzalone. You need an Alonzo. You need a player to step up and to help him out in that department.
Yeah, Calvin, that's exactly what I was talking about. Needs to play to his ability. You can't save it for just when you're playing the best guys.
That's Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm saying, that's when we need the 3rd and long, and that's when you can get your sacks, because I'd rather sacks on 3rd down than 1st down. 1st down's great, gets the crowd all pumped up, we're all excited, and we give up a 20-yard pass on 2nd and 22. That pisses me off.
2nd and 22, and you complete a 25-yard pass.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
To me, that should absolutely nullify the fact that you got a sack on 1st down.
Right. I want my sacks. I want the bulk of the sacks to come on 3rd down, because the quarterback has to hold on to the ball, because they're so far away, and the linebackers are taking away his safety valve. So he's got to hold on to the ball to make a play, and here comes the sack. That's great defense. That's when your defense is playing at its best. Real quick, I know we're over time, and I just want to bring this up real quick. We're not playing preseason games, not playing scrimmages. So the only way you're going to hear about Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, and Drew Brees accidentally said what will now be the nickname of these two guys. He called them Tamus, TAY-MIS, Tamus. You're only going to see these guys in the stream footage that's shown at practice. Jameis Winston's shown off his arm. He's thrown a lot of great passes, but we're also seeing really good passes from Taysom Hill. Deep passes look effortless from him. The problem, of course, is Winston's not looking at different coverages, and Hill's not throwing the ball under a lot of pressure. It's still touch football and wrap up kind of stuff. You're not having big hits. What's wrong with you? You still laughing at that nickname? Tamus, that's their name.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Anyway, the story has come out that basically Jameis Winston has leapfrogged Taysom Hill to be the number 2 quarterback. To me, that's not unexpected.
No shit.
I expect him to be the number 2 guy.
You're going to pay Jameis Winston to come in and be your number 3? Come on, man.
Well, but my thing is, you've going to put Taysom Hill at wide receiver, gunner, tight end, running back, fullback. You're going to still do all the things you've been doing with Taysom Hill. You can't have him being your number 2 guy at the same time.
That's right. You're not gonna jeopardize your number 2.
Well, and he's not going to run from the receivers meeting to the quarterbacks meeting. It's just it just doesn't work that way. They're going to work with him as a passer, but they're going to still use him as a primary weapon on this team. So yeah, they're going to let Jameis Winston take the number 2 guy's snaps, which aren't going to be very many come regular season. But it's people are already like, there it is. There's our starter for next year. Jameis Winston's going to be the starter for the Saints. Calm down.
Slow your roll.
Yeah.
Chill. Just take a breath.
Yeah. Avery. Linebackers are an Oscam's razor situation. If they stay healthy, you're talking about an extremely talented group. One guy goes down, it becomes a shit show. That's sure.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
And to me, the shit show really would be it kicked in earnest if Demario Davis goes down. That's when we're in real trouble. I don't want to think about that, but that's.
Oh my Jesus! Don't even. Oh, I've got a migraine now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, well, I mean, the same can be said if we lose either Lattimore or the Rabbit, Jenkins.
Janoris.
Yeah, any length of time. Because
it's such a thin line.
Yeah.
Anytime that you can have like 3 deep at every position and be solid at that's a dream come true. Unfortunately, in National Football League, that's a fantasy.
That works in Madden. That's about all it works in Madden.
It doesn't work that way. You do the best that you can do, and you do the best that you can with what you've got. And for the Saints, that means probably 1.5 deep at every position.
Yeah. I mean, I'm watching the Eagles game from 2018, the one we beat them 45-7, and the Eagles went out there with only Malcolm Jenkins left from their Super Bowl team that was starting. All their cornerbacks were hurt. Their other safety was hurt. Yeah, that's how we hung 45 points on them. I mean,
yeah, and Malcolm almost got ejected from that game. I remember that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the story of every team in the NFL. Only in Madden can you have your starters and your depth 3, 3 guys that could all start for any team in the NFL. That's the only way that works. I mean, you got to pay these people. And secondly, the other 31 teams aren't that stupid to let quality players go.
To division opponents.
Yeah, it just doesn't work that way. So yeah.
But before I forget, before we run out of time, tentatively scheduled for next week, we have the elusive John Butler from from the Life of a Saint series. It's been a while since we've had John on. I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait to catch up with him.
A Saints fan that's in New York City.
Yeah, that's like tits on a boar hog, right?
I was just having the old. Do you remember the old salsa commercial? El Paso, I think it was salsa commercial. You got the guy sitting around the campfire, and he says, "Hey, you guys want some salsa? Where did it come from? Is that Mexico?
New York City."
Yeah. Every time I saw that commercial, I always thought of Blazing Saddles when they were eating the beans in Blazing Saddles. You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
always.
I just been I've been doing these series on DVD. I did the entire show of Dexter,
Mhm.
which was fantastic, by the way. I did Justified, which was equally as awesome. I just finished Ray Donovan with Liev Schreiber. Oh man, I finished it today. I was disappointed in the end, but it was fantastic.
Okay, well, good, good. I'm watching old shit on YouTube, on DVD, on uh on Amazon Prime and Netflix and stuff. I just watch old shows. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
Casey keeps me updated on she always knows just exactly what I like. There's another show called Power that we've gotten into. There was Breaking Bad that we started. Uh, there was one more. What was it? I can't remember. But she keeps me entertained.
yeah, I won't even tell you the shows I watch. 'Cause you're like, oh my god, are you serious? Are you really watching that? So it's. I found the first season of Brady Bunch on Amazon Prime, for example. So I was watching that one time.
Well, not too long ago, I ran down a rabbit hole and I watched the first 4 episodes of Black Sheep Squadron. So
Oh, Robert Conrad? No, it was
that's it.
Baba Black Sheep. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I watched
when it
that.
started, it was Baba Black Sheep,
Yeah,
and as it progressed, it changed to Black Sheep Squadron. But
yeah.
yeah,
I watched that.
um,
Yeah,
um,
I've got the complete.
Claire Claire Lee Chenault, who started the Black Sheep Squadron in
Mhm,
China, or well, wait a minute, started the Flying Tigers in China during pre-World War II.
mhm.
Uh, he was a PE teacher at the high school that my dad attended. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. They ended up being based out of the Philippines, if I remember my history right. The Flying Tigers,
China.
Mainland China, but I thought they also were in the Philippines too. We had to take back the Philippines. I
They
could be wrong.
moved to the Philippines after the war had begun, but
Yeah.
pre-war they were based in China.
Okay. All right. I thought I wasn't crazy, but
And
yeah.
Greg Boyington started with them. He had a falling out with Chenault over money, and he was already a Marine, but he went back to the Marines and kind of basically built his own unit. If you can ever see the pilot episode of Baba Black Sheep, it's fantastic.
I haven't watched it. Used to come on um Channel 26 in New Orleans. Used to show it like on Sunday nights at 10:30 or something like that. And that's why I remember watching it, but I haven't watched it in a long time. Um the
The
original,
Untouchables, Robert
yes,
Stack.
Robert Stack, absolutely.
I
Uh
loved the updated version of the Untouchables that they did, where William Forsythe played Al Capone. I
mhm.
can't remember the guy that played Elliot Ness, but I used to watch that every week. It was fantastic. William Forsythe plays the best Al Capone that I've ever seen.
Oh, I don't know. I like the film from '87 with Robert De Niro playing
Nah,
Al Capone.
De Niro is a stretch.
Well,
Um,
I like when he's talking about baseball
yeah,
and teamwork. That was fun.
it's
But
about the team.
yeah, and Pluto TV app. Okay, I'll have to look for that because I end up going on YouTube, end up going to Video Motion to watch some things. So yeah, um, but yeah, Sean Connery made that movie, and it wasn't nearly as good once Sean Connery's character was dead in the
My
original
namesake.
Untouchables. Yeah,
My
in the
namesake.
original Untouchables, because the problem with and I've said this before. The problem with Kevin Costner is he's basically the same person in every film, and
Yeah.
not in a good way.
No.
Um, it's a very
My
stiff, boring character.
my very favorite Kevin Costner movie, if I had to pick one, would be The Postman.
Really, The
Yes.
Postman.
Yes.
I couldn't watch The Postman. If I had to,
Man, it is fantastic. And Will Patton playing the bad guy in that did such a magnificent job. Everything that I had seen Will Patton in up to that point, like Armageddon and so on and so forth, he was always the good guy. But to see him play the bad guy and to do such a fantastic job that he did was something else.
my favorite Kevin Costner film is No Way Out, and I've talked about this before. With that, it was with that crazy chick. I cannot think of her name, but she wanted to be in the second Batman movie so badly that she made her own Catwoman outfit to show up for the screen reading. Oh, Bill Durham. I'd probably put Field of Dreams ahead of Bill Durham.
No, I'm the opposite. I got to go with Jerry here. Bull Durham over Field of Dreams.
But the problem with maybe because I don't like Susan Sarandon that much, so Bull Durham just didn't appeal to me. I like The Natural better, but yeah, Tin Cup.
I have that movie right there. Actually, I'm looking at it.
What
The Natural.
Oh, The Natural. That is a great film.
That's a great movie, but the first time I watched it, I was like,
I knew my brother would say it because my brother used to work in a movie theater. Sean Young, she was crazy. She was batshit crazy. So that means the sex must have been awesome with her. But anyway, she's batshit crazy, and she showed up at the oh yeah, you know that. I mean, anybody that's seen Fatal Attraction knows that is true. Anyway, or Hand That Rocks the Cradle. That's another one where you're like she's just batshit crazy, man. That's just the only way you can do it. But Sean Young showed up at the reading for the script in her homemade Catwoman outfit, and it was unbelievable. It was you really need to read the story. Yes, WGNO, God bless Louisiana. And I'm going back so far back when WGNO used to sign off in the air. When I got up in the morning to watch Speed Racer, they used to play. Oh man, I was a diehard Speed Racer man. The Mach 5, that was a badass car for a 6 or 7 year old. You wanted to drive the Mach 5. Anyway, when you used to get up to watch Speed Racer, WGNO had an animated sun that would rise over the city of New Orleans, and they play the Beatles' "Here Comes the Sun." So anyway,
I was telling someone the other day. I said something about. I made reference to a test pattern. They said, "The hell is a test pattern?" I said, "Well,
Poltergeist. The whole movie Poltergeist can't happen today. The TV never goes off the air."
Well, back years ago, TV used to go completely off the air at midnight. Yep. You would see they would come on, they'd play the video of the national anthem, and then you'd have the microscopic view of head lice and the
snow. We used to call it. You get the TV
and then it would stay off the air until like 5:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I can remember when there was no such thing as ESPN. I can remember the very first broadcast of HBO. And when HBO started, it was like, I want to say 9 a.m. to midnight.
No, HBO used to come on at 4:30 in the afternoon and be on to midnight. When I first got cable, HBO came on like 4:30. So you got from whenever you woke up and put on a channel to when it came on the air, all it would do was just show the logo and you'd have the movies for the day run up on the screen. That was it.
Like three, maybe 4 movies.
Yeah.
and then off the air again.
Yep.
I can remember the first movie that I ever watched on HBO was Patton.
First movie I ever watched on HBO, there was two of them. Cuba with Sean Connery and Death on the Nile, which they must have showed 10,000 times because I saw that movie more times. My brother can verify this stuff. Death on the Nile was always on. It was constantly on. And then
Michael Douglas.
No, not Michael Douglas. That was
No.
that was oh hell. He played
David Niven.
David Niven I don't think it was on there. Rosemary's Baby, Woody Allen's main squeeze. She was in that film. That was what the hell is her name? Short hair. She was a boy. She was a boy.
I know who you're talking about.
But Maggie Smith was in that film. I have to pull up the cast, but yeah. My brother bring up Nickelodeon, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. It was that's when Nickelodeon was on. It would go off, and my brother and I used to race home to watch video comics. I talked about that in my comic books group. Zorro the Gay Blade, starring what's his name?
Antonio Banderas?
No, way before him. The tan guy, Mia Farrow. That's the Peter Ustinov.
Mia Farrow, yes.
Yeah, Mia Farrow was in Rosemary's Baby. Peter Ustinov played Hugo Ferraro. No, Zorro the Gay Blade was Hamilton, the guy with the mustache. George Hamilton.
Yeah.
Zorro the Gay Blade. There we go. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah,
Jesus fucking Christ, we are old.
Well, I'm telling you. I mean, I can remember it didn't have cable, and you had an antenna on the roof.
That's
and
right.
You had that little box that sat on top of your TV. You had to turn it, and
people ask me, how old are you? I said, I'm so old that I was my dad's first remote control.
Right. You turn the box and you pop it out, and it would go ka-dunk, 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 and the picture would slowly fade out as the antenna turned, and then you had another picture that slowly would fade back in, and that's
that's it.
Yeah, George Hamilton.
Yeah, George Hamilton. He's in one of the movies that I have that I watch regularly called Rough Riders. It's about the Spanish American War. It's got George Hamilton, Gary Busey.
Oh God, then it's crazy.
Yeah, he plays a batshit crazy Confederate general that they enlisted to go to.
He's not acting. No,
it's a shoot. The guy from Platoon.
Yeah, which George? I'm not Sheen. Charlie Sheen.
No. The sergeant, not Willem Dafoe, but the other one.
Oh yeah,
Berenger. Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger plays Teddy Roosevelt and does a spectacular job.
I always remember Tom Berenger from The Big Chill. Oh God, Blink 182.
Okay, we're gonna need you, Avery. We're gonna need you to take your meds. Okay.
All the small things. But anyway,
step away from the sofa. Take your meds and just lay down.
Oh, well, there's nothing. I always get a kick out of it, and I promise this will be the end of the show because we've already gone well over half hour over our limit. But anyway, I nothing will ever beat hearing Panama in Winn-Dixie grocery store. You got old ladies walking around. I'm hearing David Lee Roth go, reach down between my
legs and
ease the seat back. And I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm hearing this in the grocery store.
And to see him do it live, he finds the perfect number in the front row, and he gets down right in front of her face with the mic like this, and he says, and he gets to that point in the song, and he says, wait a minute, wait, what? You want to reach between my legs? And
God.
I went to see David Lee Roth on the Eat 'em and Smile tour, where he was with Greg Bissonette, Steve Vai, and Billy Sheehan. That was one of the most incredible concerts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you don't want to see David Lee Roth today. In fact, you don't even want to YouTube that because he's become a parody of himself. It's unbelievable. But you know,
I got up early one morning and watched The View because they had promoted that David Lee Roth was going to be on there, and he was doing Van Halen songs bluegrass style.
Oh my God. You know, like I said, you know, certain songs when I hear in the grocery store, I'm just like, I can't believe I'm actually hearing this. You know, it's like sometimes I wonder if I'm going to hear "Darling Nikki" from Prince in the grocery store. You know, I'm just like, are you really going to play this? Am I really going to hear this?
Knew a girl named Nikki. You guess you could say. Anyway,
yeah. Hey, you never paid the bills. We just jumped right into it. So do that, and then we'll have to sign off.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Under the Dome. We love you guys. We value your input. We love your interaction with us. And you can follow our show on iTunes and on YouTube. And you can follow us on Twitter at the labels mentioned. We're on Facebook. We're at Under the Dome Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being a part of what we do. Next week, John Butler from Life of a Saint. And with that, I throw it back to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Alan Ulrich.
Hey, thank you guys for sticking with us and going way over time. Like I said, we start talking about stuff from the past, and you know, here we go. We're all we go way off tangent, but I tell you,
Steve Vai is a god.
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't think so needs to watch Crossroads. He's the devil's guitarist.
Anyway, so I could talk about old shows, talking about old movies, old music all day long. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Hey, it's no preseason, but hey, it's training camp. We're gonna get more news every day. You know, we'll try and keep up as best we can. But thank you for sticking with us. We'll have our best friend John Butler on the show next week, and we'll try and drag Butler into the muck and the mire that is the show. When we go off tangent, and he'll get a good laugh out of it. In the meantime,
we're gonna corrupt him.
Absolutely. In the meantime, thank you guys for sticking with us. We'll see you next time Under the Dome. Good night, everybody.